It's stories like this that get me up in the morning and straight into nerd heaven. We have looked into space since we could open our eyes as a land-dwelling species and wondered about that red star in our night sky. Hi, I'm Chris May, host of This Day in Weather History, a podcast from the Weather Network in Canada. Hey, today's episode is accompanied by a podcast video short that you can watch either on TV in Canada on the Weather Network or online anytime and anywhere you are at theweathernetwork.com/weather history. Shot here in my podcast studio, it features the episode being made with video and photos from the event from when it happened. So be sure to watch it when you get a chance. As soon as we found out that it was not a star at all, but a planet, well then the desire to get there has never wavered, and we did just that in grand fashion this day in weather history. On January 3rd, 2004, the Mars exploration rover Spirit landed on the red planet, also known, of course, as Mars. And then in short succession, it was joined by its twin when, 21 days later, Opportunity touched down safely. They were sent there to try and start solving the question posed by the rock god David Bowie in 1971 when he opined, "Is there life on Mars?" It's a song from his album Hunky Dory. Look it up. Anyway, to find evidence that life either does or ever did exist on Mars, the rovers were to study the history of climate and water at sites on Mars where conditions had been speculated through research on Earth may have been favorable to life. To cover as much ground as possible on this alien world with the limited time they were set, Spirit and Opportunity were sent to opposite sides of Mars to locations that were suspected to have been in some way affected by liquid water in the past. Now, I say liquid because the further you get from the sun, the lower the potential for actual liquid as we know it on Earth becomes. The rover's primary mission was expected to last 90 sols. That's the term used for Martian days and is actually not that much different from that of Earth. And it didn't take long because 2 months later, in March of 2004, scientists announced that they had made a monumentous discovery. A survey of Martian rocks at the Spirit site showed convincing evidence that liquid water had once flowed there. Meanwhile, over at the Opportunity's landing site, it was discovered that it had once been the bed of salty sea. There could have once been an ocean here. The rovers continued to explore Mars for several years. They were used extensively until they told us when they were done. Remember that this is an alien world, so the variables are many. But both rovers were eventually crippled by very Earth-like events, actually, on Mars, albeit events that normally here would involve winter conditions. Let me explain. Spirit got literally banked and was immobile for the rest of its life when it got stuck in deep sand, a lot like a car would on Earth when driving or skidding into a snowbank. But NASA had a plan B. They used the still very operational Spirit, although it was stationary, as a stationary research platform before finally falling out of contact with NASA, and that declared its mission over in 2011. Long live Spirit. The Opportunity rover, it stopped communicating with Earth after getting pummeled in a dust storm. You might think, hey man, these are space vehicles. A dust storm shouldn't take this down. Well, it can, and it will, when it is severe enough to blanket the entire planet in one go. Again, like a car getting battered and lost in a winter whiteout. We lost the Mars rover Opportunity in this storm in June of 2018. And after futile attempts to reconnect in February of 2019, and after 15 years, NASA announced that now that Opportunity is confirmed dead, this will be the end of the MER mission. So before we start shedding any tears, let's put some perspective here. Both rovers were expected to last just 90 Martian days and travel 1,100 yards or 1,000 meters. Okay. Opportunity blew that away in stellar fashion, yes, I meant that pun, when it lasted 15 years and traveled more than 28 miles, or 45 kilometers. And that was along with its twin model Spirit, which operated for 6 years, 2 months, 19 days, traveled just under 5 miles, which is almost 7 3/4 kilometers, across the Martian vista. Long after both life expectancies on Mars, after landing this day in weather history. Tomorrow is January 4th, and as we dig deeper into the earliest days of a new year, we will look back to an ice storm that redefined all ice storms. Tomorrow's episode is also accompanied by a real cool podcast video short. It's a quick, concentrated 2-minute video that you can watch on television on the Weather Network or on our podcast homepage at theweathernetwork.com/weather history. While there, feel free to watch them all, then bookmark that page because there's going to be another one on January 5th as well. This was the ice storm of 1998, and that's tomorrow here on This Day in Weather History with me, your host, Chris May.